literally anything we want without any repercussions. It might have been different. It might not have worked. You just don't know.
Yeah, it's you've got to be pretty thick-skinned with it, I think, for sure. And you've got to be. I personally don't think we'll ever see it again. To be honest with you, where somebody can just be that all the time. Even indie guys that I've spoke to, they're like, well, I really want to try and get real heat. But then they're sort of scared that maybe the next couple of days that someone's going to look up where they work and be outside with a picket or something, and start protesting. You just never know these days. And I think that's the hard thing.
When you read some of the books, like Stan Hansen books, or or watch any old school documentaries, from WCCW or any of the old promotions, Jim Crockett, etc. They would get that legitimate heat. They would go out and there would be a mob around their car, and they would have people grab them and get them and things like that. And again, it's just a very different time. I think now, because it's so universally known and aware that it is essentially a soap opera. We are. Well, they are. I mean, I don't do anything, but they are performing. That people see it as exactly that. You're just playing a character. I can attack you. Like again, like the things that happen at the moment. Like this particular individual thinks it's okay to attack Alexa Bliss because he's attacking the character rather than the person. It's like, no, you're trying to look for a loophole here to justify what you're doing and what you're saying. Whether people would be a lynch mob outside, I very doubt it, because there would be a lot of people out there coming to protect. I've been on a couple of shows where once I had to calm an American import down because he was literally going to go and throttle someone because they were very rude to a female promoter, and I had to kind of tell him, you're in England, you might get deported. Try not to do these things, but these things can happen, I guess. I hope it never does. I hope people are not stupid, that you wouldn't go and attack Robert De Niro because you didn't like his character in a film that he's playing.
People can get just it's a difficult one. I was chatting about this same subject with Adam Maxted recently, and we was discussing about whether that would really ever come back, and could it ever come back, and just the whole difference that in reality now, I mean, I'd say probably at least the sort of two big promotions that we see in America, at least, that the heels or those that are presented that way are pretty much, it's difficult because they're almost more cooler. It's not the same kind of thing. They're more edgier, and people like that more than the baby faces these days. So it's really hard. And and they sell merchandise as well, don't forget, so people are buying their stuff as well, and that never used to happen. So it's really hard to sort of,
they're buying into everybody. I like the heels. I like a bad guy. That's what the only criticism I had with Double or Nothing is basically all the good guys went over, and I was a bit like, I like all of the good guys. I think I love Cody Rhodes. I love John Moxley. I like all those. Whoever else went over, I can't think off the top of my head quickly, but
No, you're right. There was mainly baby faces.
There wasn't really any heels gone over. MJF did, but MJF is obviously going to go over. They clearly have a plan for him. But back in 96 when Hogan turned heel, it was cool to be heel, right? It was real cool. And at that time period, and for me, I like the heels, and it's cool to be over. But you saw back then that those sort of heels wouldn't meet fans, they wouldn't sell merchandise and etc. You couldn't tell a heel Adam Maxted that he can't go out there and sell an 8x10, or tell these 50 million girls that want to meet him, because I've been on shows, believe me, it is a lot. I was on a World of Sport show, and I no word of lie, it was a huge venue. I think they had like 2,000 people in there, and he did about 3 laps of the ring as well as the whole building to meet him, and it was an intermission. It was 50 minutes, and I was like, holy moly. But you couldn't tell a heel Adam Maxted, no, you can't go out there and meet them, because that's money. It's the same with, you couldn't tell Nathan Cruz, no, Nathan, you can't go and sell your merch. You're the heel, you're the best heel one of the best hills we have in the UK, but you can't go out there and sell your merchandise. That's not, you can't do that now.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people understand that Nathan, Adam, whoever, they're playing a role and they're playing it very well. But it's the role. It's just very, very different times now, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Different times, and obviously with social media. Like I say, it might have been wholly different with Andy Kaufman. I mean, there's no way I couldn't imagine if he put some of those videos out now, what would come back his way. But he's somebody that seemed to get off on that as well. Like, I think there was a strange inner personality that liked all that.
And I think you've seen with a couple of sort of individuals that don't watch wrestling. I think there was one in Australia had said something about an AEW fan, and everybody sort of came to her defence, and rightfully so. I did too. But I think that they're now, and there was another comedian maybe a few weeks ago, I think it was on Netflix or something or other. I don't even know who they are. But they had mentioned something about wrestling, and again, all the audience went to them. I half of me thinks that these people see each other doing it and think, cool, that person's getting a load of attention. Bad news is news, right? And the wrestling community will immediately protect its own when somebody is being disrespected, being spoken down to, especially fans. And sometimes I think these comedians are doing it to try and, or these personalities, whatever they are, radio hosts, whatever they are trying to do it just to try and get some attention and buzz on them. Someone go, who's that guy? Oh, let me listen to his podcast or his radio show or his stand-up show. Oh, actually, he's really good. I'm a fan now. Yeah. Because we are.
I've seen the closest I've seen to that is some stuff that Rhonda kept posting like about a year ago, and people legitimately got so angry, like really angry, and I'm pretty sure that most of it was her just sort of. I don't really think she believed in all that because, well, from many of her old interviews anyway, I knew she was a huge old school Roddy fan and she knew all her knowledge, so I couldn't imagine that she'd be like. But even the wrestlers seem to take it quite to heart, and I just thought, is that her just working everybody so well? But you see how people get so angry with that as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna. It's a very unusual, not unusual, but it's the wrestling community rallies around each other so quickly. So quickly that you're just protecting your own, because you still have that people kind of still poo-poo it and turn the nose up at it, and it's immediately we're like, no, like I absolutely love the Dark Knight with I wouldn't go to Christian Bale or what's his name?
Is it
Bane? And
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. I won't go up to him in the street and start slagging him off for their portrayal as a character and tell them, Batman's the worst thing in the world. Again, like I said earlier, don't like it, don't watch it.
It's pretty simple.
Go and watch a different film. Don't go and pay and watch that film. Strange, very strange, but we do rally around each other so quickly, and I do it. It offends me, and I write things and then quickly delete them because it's just like, okay, I've said it out loud, but I've posted it, and it makes me feel a little bit better. But it's just, I think sometimes Rhonda's situation I don't know particularly well, but I mean, she may have just been working people into the fact that she might have been coming back, and then the whole lockdown came, and then it's like, okay, I'm not. You don't know.
Yeah. No, I get you. Before we come to the end of this one, it's gone quick this has as well. Got to say this out. I've got to be honest. You haven't been destroyed by ducks, which is good.
No, there are.
That's far.
I think one's just, or something's just pooed from me on the tree, so I think I might have just been pooed on. So that's a bit of luck.
I was going to say, in terms of the UK wrestling scene, who are some of the guys and girls that you enjoy watching that have come around in the last couple of years that have sort of caught your eye? Is there anybody that's out there that maybe don't get enough mention, or somebody that maybe fans aren't as familiar with? Is there anybody that's caught your eye and that we should be keeping an eye on?
There's loads. I mean, I know a lot of people. There was a lot of people upset about sort of the NXT UK situation and thinking that was going to be a bad for the sort of the business side, or potential growth, but not at all. People are always going to step up. There's always going to be a next sort of wave of talent. Same in any promotion, but there's a lot of people that I really enjoy watching. Gene Money, I think, is why I didn't get Gene at first, and I think he kind of knows that from conversations we've had with each other, and I didn't really get him at first, and I was a bit like, what is this? And then the more I kind of, and I do this a lot, even with sort of wrestling or movies or shows, like I'll be like, what is this?
Yeah.
I don't get this. And then I'll try and sit back and go, no, open my mind. Because I try to say it to people that aren't wrestling fans. I'll say, look, just watch it. Open your mind. Just let it. If it doesn't entertain you at the end, just go. So I tried to do that. And then after a while, I was like, no, I get Gene. I think he's great. And he's someone I really like to work with. Charles Crowley, I'm a big supporter of. I really enjoy his sort of gimmick. He looks great. He's an actor. He makes movies. He does all these different things that are just perfect for what you would want in a wrestler.
I've seen him now live. It's quite something.
He's great. Tate Mayfair, I think, is going to be huge. He can bump around a ring better than most people. He looks great. Talks good. You legitimately want to hate him when he comes out and he does all the sort of kind of Rick Rude type maneuvers or Val Venus, kind of a mixture of those, and kind of want to just grab hold of him. But he's doing his job. I think Brady Phillips is probably one of the most underrated performers in the country. I think the stuff that he can do is phenomenal. I think sometimes the only thing that maybe might let him down is sort of like promo-y type scenarios, but I know he's been working hard on them. He's certainly improving. Facial expressions as well. I mean, he's built like a tank anyway, and the guy can move. He's a fantastic wrestler. Dave Graves up in Leeds, I think, is probably one of the best technical wrestlers in the country, and I think that 2020 was probably going to be sort of a good breakout year for him. I think he was going to start getting on some bigger shows and out there, and obviously the lockdowns come, but I think he's going to be someone really to keep an eye on. Giselle Shaw, she came to my show. I think she was only in the country like a day, and she came to the first WrestleGate show, and I was introduced. She said, could I come along? I was like, sure. Introduced to each other, and I looked at her and I was like, we could use you for something. And then we put her in an invite. We literally wrote her into the show there and then, and she was just brilliant to work with, and she's phenomenal. She's unbelievably talented. Surprised she didn't go to the WWE. For NXT, but she's brilliant. I think she's going to be someone special. On women, Sky Stimpson, who wrestles mainly with Eve and some WWW, I think they're called WAW, something like that. She's great. She's really good. She has a very good sort of strong style about her, which I like. I went to Germany because one of my best friends is John Klinger, Bad Bones. So I went over to watch him, and her and Laura Di Matteo were wrestling. We were actually all on the same flight together, and I thought I'd be quite interested to watch this, and I watched them two wrestle. And I'm not lying or exaggerating when I say that I honestly felt like they were wrestling just to me. Right. And they wasn't, because there was a lot of people in there. But they did everything in that match that was just my taste. Yeah. It was just unbelievable. It was so technical, so strong stuff. Went back and said it's probably one of the best matches I've seen in a long time. And she continuously does that when I see her. And so does Laura. And I think that I'd like to see Sky around, more places. In terms of people that might have come into the scene recently, obviously OJMO will come up and everybody sort of, talk because he's great. I mean, for a guy that doesn't have a lot of weight on him, he just he oozes that charisma. He's just got that charisma just comes out of him so well. Adam Maxted, who you had on recently, the first show I ever worked on as a photographer was literally in my tiny little town. I mean, I can walk from one end of my town to the other in 20 minutes. He was on it. He was there. It was like 4 months into the business at that time period, and he would come up to me and be like, could you get some pictures of me, please? And as many pictures as you can. And I'd be looking at this muscled genetic freak thinking, yes, sir, no worries. I get lots of